I just watched Tina Yong's video of her getting her makeup professionally done by a Chinese makeup artist, and there were just so many different techniques that I've never seen before. I have gotten my makeup done by Chinese makeup artists before, but at the time I was too young to really know what was going on and I didn't really pay attention to their technique, but I always did love how my makeup turned out. So I thought today would be a really fun video if I followed her video kind of like step by step as a tutorial and try out all these new techniques on my face. So she's using a razor to clean up any stray hairs on her brows, but I am not brave enough to get a razor that close to my eyebrows. Like, I'm just not. But I do remember that when I did get my makeup done by a Chinese makeup artist, they did use a razor. And at the time, I think it was like 2010. I'm pretty sure like thin brows were still like pretty in at the time over there. And I'll post a picture of it. But they made my eyebrows so thin. It looked kind of silly. It looked pretty wild. Especially the fact that I was like 15 and I didn't know how to actually fill in my brows afterwards, like when I came home. And it was a total mess. If there's like a background noise that's kind of like fuzzy sounding, it's just my candle with my crackling wooden wick. It's literally the most peaceful thing ever. Probably not great to have as a background noise for a video, but the candle will come in use later in the video, so that's why I have it here, not just trying to plug my candle shop. So she's doing a lot of skin prep, which I'm gonna skip because I already did my morning skincare routine. And what I found really interesting was that she started off her makeup routine by curling her lashes. Usually I do this step last. I even prefer that my lashes are like straight and kind of turned down because that way they don't really get in the way of my eyeshadow when I'm doing my eyeshadow, but I'm gonna trust the professional and follow her steps. So she actually uses a concealer to prep her eyelids, and she also goes over her brows to kind of even out the skin tone, which I've actually never seen anyone do before, which is really interesting. And the concealers I'm using are the LA Girls Conceal It in the shade Light and the NYX Bear With Me Concealer Serum in the shade Fair. This one was just a little too light for me. When I was in Ulta, I like held the swatch up to my face and I asked my boyfriend, like, was this too light for me? Because I couldn't find a mirror and I was just too lazy to walk across the store to look at it. And my boyfriend's like, yeah, it's probably like a little light. And I was like, nah, it's fine. And he was right. It was a little light for me. And since I feel like I put on just a bit too much product, I'm just using a clean brush and taking off any of that extra product. So she uses a cream eyeshadow from Charlotte Tilbury in like a pinky bronze shade. So when I was at the drugstore, I picked up this CoverGirl Clean Eye Color in the shade Ballerina Blush. Ooh, it's a really pretty color. So I'm gonna smack that on my lids. Oh, that's such a pretty color. And then I'm gonna blend that out. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful color. I think this is so perfect for just like every day, like those one and done eyeshadows. I was really worried that this might have been too dark. Oh my gosh, it's so seamless. And I think the shade is just perfect for my skin tone because it's kind of pink. It's pretty much like a skin tone shade, you know? I really love this color. And she goes all across her lower lash line as well, so I will do the same. I know my eye shape is a little different from Tina's eye shape, so some of the techniques that Sophie's using on her may not work for me. So I'm just going to try to tailor it as best I can. I love this. I love this so much. All of the products I'm using will be listed down below. So she's going in with a matte brown eyeshadow. It looks kind of warm, but not like too much. So I'm gonna go in with this Matte About You palette, and I'm gonna use this brown right here. She doesn't exactly show which brown she's using, it's just a brown. So since I forgot to wash my brushes yesterday, I'm using a brush that's a little more dense than I normally would go for this. So I'm using very light pressure. And it also looks like Sophie uses very light pressure when she applies eyeshadows too. So I'm also just like barely pushing down and really blending that out. Which, come to think of it, now that I've been watching more like different makeup artists' techniques, I definitely think I've been putting way too much pressure on my brushes, which is probably what makes my eyeshadows not blend out as easily, which is so wild to me. I don't know why I was using so much pressure. And just tapping that brush into the brown again, I'm going to run that under my lash line as well. So for her Egosal, she has Tina's Smile, and she kind of like pushes it up a little bit to emphasize. And then she uses a cream white eyeshadow stick to highlight that area. So I'm using the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in the shade Frosting. And she kind of goes in the middle and into the inner corner, which is actually like, I've never seen anyone do this before. I always see people, and of course they're like amateur makeup gurus on YouTube, doing the contour part first and then highlighting afterwards. But I kind of love how she highlights the natural Egosal on Tina first before going into contour, if she does. I can't remember if she actually does contour after. So she's darkening up the outer edge with a brown eyeshadow, so I'm gonna go into something just a little bit deeper than the first one we used right here. And she starts on the outer corner and then kind of blends it down underneath the Egosal to kind of give it a little bit of definition, but it's not too drastic at all. And I'm smiling just so I can see where mine is. The fact that it's highlighted, it makes this area look so much puffier than I've ever noticed it to be. Like, I don't ever think it's been this defined before. So she makes this part look so easy, but she's using the same brush and the brown eyeshadow and elongating this outer corner right here, like very lightly, but you can definitely see a difference. So I'm gonna try not to go overboard with this because I often do. And she just adds a tiny bit onto her inner corner right here. It really doesn't look like she's being too neat with it. And it also doesn't look like she's doing too much, but it does make a difference, like if you can see already. Then she goes in with a matte peachy transition shade over her crease. So I'm gonna go in with this peachy neutral shade right here with a really fluffy brush, and I'll just go over my crease right here. And again, just such light pressure. With this, because you're using your transition shade like at the very edge and kind of just like using it to diffuse your eyeshadows instead of laying down something first and then blending these shadows after, it's kind of like opposite from what I've been doing. And I think this looks way better on my eyes. Like, I think doing it this way helps my shadows look even more blended. All of these tips are just like so handy. Like, I am just so shocked at every step of this makeup tutorial. So she's doing a shimmer shadow right on the highest point of her eyes to give her a soft glow. So I'm gonna go into this shade from the Going Coconuts palette. I'm pretty sure it's Cocoa Crush, but I'm really not sure. It's the more pink shimmery shade. I have to hold it down because it will fall out. And it has nothing to do with ColourPop's palette. It is because I dropped this palette on the ground and it all fell out. So just in the middle of my eyelid, I'm kind of dusting this on, again, really lightly. So next she uses a brown liner to, oh my gosh, what is this? So next she uses a brown liner to define her eyes, and she kind of goes under her waterline right here. But I also see, oh my god. But I also see that she kind of goes a little heavier handed on the inner corner, like she doesn't mind that it gets on the lid. And she uses a brush to blend that out, but I'm gonna use the back of this smudgy stick. Okay, I don't love this smudgy thing, but I'm using the liner by CoverGirl Perfect Point Plus in the shade Espresso, and it is so creamy and dark. I just swatched it on my hand because it was a little soft and kind of crumbled a little bit, but I think that was just, you know, in transit. So I know my eyeliner is a little darker than hers, but I'm hoping it still works. But she kind of colors in this area and drags it down. I love how creamy and sharp this is. And just using a angled brush, I'm gonna drag it downwards, like doing more of a puppy liner also. This eye definitely doesn't like to have that much of a wing, I don't think, because this eye's a little more crisp. This one is not. Now for lashes, she cuts up a few snips of lashes. They looked so fluffy. Like they looked so fluffy and so beautiful that I was like, I need to get some lash glue. I have a few packs of pretty wild looking lashes that I do have a few packs of lashes to choose from. They're all pretty long, but I feel like if I mix and match a few of them together, I can get a pretty custom blend of lash. I'll link the box I got down below, but it's from Amazon. It was like $20 for like a pack of 100 or something crazy. Probably not. It was probably like a pack of 50. It came in like this big box full of lashes. So I'm gonna take this lash right here and I'm gonna cut them into a few smaller chunks. Okay, this is so tedious because she literally does them like a little cluster at a time. And another difference in technique with what Sophie does and what I usually do, granted I'm not a makeup artist, is that I usually do my mascara first and then my lashes afterwards. But then I guess I always do mascara after again too, to kind of blend the lashes together. So I guess it could be a little like chunky. I feel like it's been eons since I've put on fake lashes. And as they dry, she uses like the tweezers and a spoolie. But I think like personally for me doing my own lashes, it's just a lot easier to use my fingers to pinch them together. All right, so that's lashes on one eye, no lashes on the other. And with these lashes, they're definitely a little inconsistent in quality. So I hopped off the camera to finish my other eye and now we're gonna put on mascara. I skipped putting lashes on my lower lash line. I just don't have any lashes that are short enough that would look normal there, so I just skipped that step. For my mascara, I'm using the Heroin Make Volume Up Mascara, which I actually think she uses in her video also. And she uses her tweezers as a sort of shield and to sandwich the lashes together. These lashes are actually insane because they're so long, which is why I haven't been wearing them. Conceptually, I get the sandwiching technique, but I think that's outside of my skill level. That was really hard. And then this is where my candle comes in. I'm using 2 toothpicks and I'm gonna warm them up over my candle. Oh my god. So I kind of lit those on fire. I don't think I was supposed to. And this is apparently a Korean makeup tip. And she does it as a sort of like curl method, and it melts off any excess mascara. And I think that's way outside my skill level. I don't think that did what it was supposed to do, and I think I did it wrong. Okay, I think that was a fail on my part, on my behalf. So then she puts on mascara on her tweezers and then spikes some hairs together. So for my bottom lashes, I am gonna put on mascara, and I'm gonna use the Milani Anti-Gravity Mascara just because I think it gives a nice volume. If you have like Asian lashes, like really straight lashes, this will not hold your curl, but it's a great like addition to your mascara, you know? So I've squeezed some lashes together as she does. I don't know if it did anything. So next she uses a whole bunch of primer to prep her skin, but since I don't have any primer right now, I'm just gonna go in with my foundation, and this is the e.l.f. Soft Glam Satin Foundation. And I'm starting off at the perimeter of my face, just as she does, and blend it down my neck. So she doesn't go in with concealer yet. She actually goes in with a cream blush. So I'm gonna go in with the Rare Beauty blush in the shade Happy. And again, I'm putting it on the back of my hand and just picking up the smallest amount of product because it's so intense. And then putting it right under my cheeks, or right under my eyes, and across my nose bridge. So since this is looking a little intense, I'm just taking another clean brush and taking off the excess. And then she goes in with her concealer. So it's not like terribly brightening. So I am gonna take a mix of the same 2 concealers we used in the beginning. And then she goes in and conceals. This feels so wrong to put the concealer on top of the blush. And I'm just putting concealer where I normally would, and definitely just like the smallest amount. Like I put way less on this side of my face, and you can see the blush peeking through a lot more, whereas this one had a little bit more product, but it's still like a very pretty like flushed look. And then she's going in with a slightly darker concealer to contour her nose. So since I don't have that, I'm gonna go in with the e.l.f. Halo Glow Contour in the shade Fair. You only need like such a small amount. I always put way too much on my hand. And I'm gonna contour my nose as usual, like not any different technique, because she just kind of contours like regular, you know? Very subtle, but I like it. So she also contours like the perimeter of her face and the jawline. So I shall do the same. It's definitely not too intense of a contour, so I'm not making it too intense of a contour. And I do admit this contour is probably a little light for my skin tone right now. But again, it's the only one I have, so I'm just gonna go with it. It's a little gray. It's a little gray because I got a little tan. And for her jawline, she actually just puts it right here. She doesn't really contour like this area of it, which I have been for whatever reason, but I'll just do this area right now today. And she also adds just the smallest amount of contour around her lips. If this doesn't look good, it's because the contour is too gray. This has nothing to do with technique, I don't think. And then she goes in with a little bit of brightening concealer, which I do have. So I'm just gonna go in with the NYX Bare With Me Serum Concealer by itself. And she uses literally the tiniest amount to brighten this line right here. And even then, I think I used too much product. It's so subtle, but I feel like it does make a huge difference. For her brows, she starts off with a brow powder in the center, and then a pencil, and then a pomade, and then a gel. I don't have all those products, so I'm gonna use my Cezanne eyebrow pencil that's just a little like softer and a little more diffuse. So I'm gonna start off like middle center of my brow right here, give it a little bit of color. And I'm using a clean spoolie to brush that out so it doesn't add extra color. Very gentle, right? Next, I'm gonna go in with the NYX Micro Brow Pencil in the shade Ash Brown and fill out the tail just in little hair-like strokes. I feel like my brows are going through like a bad hair day right now, so give it some grace, okay? Give them some grace, you guys. And I went out and picked up the e.l.f. Wow Brow in the shade Natural Brown. So hopefully this is the right shade. And oh my gosh, there's like little hair-like fibers. It's been so long since I've actually used a brow gel, and the last few times I've used one, they didn't really do anything to my hairs. My hairs are pretty like straight and, you know, straight. So they kind of just go where they want to go, and I don't know, they're really short too, so I feel like brow gel really doesn't do anything for them. But it's also been so long, right? Like it's been so long. I feel like this brow gel has made me aware that I'm missing kind of a lot of hairs right here. What's happening? Oh no, what did I do? I think I'm fine, we're fine. I'm just using a concealer brush to conceal and clean up my brows. I feel like I got the wrong thing. I feel like this is like a brow mascara filler and not so much like a gel, but it's kind of nice. Like I can't stop using this. So if my brows look crazy, you know why. So Brow Wow is supposed to make your brows look fuller, which they definitely did in my inner brow area. My brows are like not that defined over there. So it's supposed to be like a brow mascara essentially, and it's supposed to hold it into place, which it definitely does right here. And I really like the color. It doesn't really change the color of my hairs too much, but it really blends into the brow pencil that I have. So that's really cool. First time using it. I'm impressed. We're almost done. I feel like I've been here forever, and I probably have been here forever now at this point, but we're almost done. For our lips, I'm gonna go in first. She goes in with like a nude shade first, so I'm gonna go in with the NYX lip pencil in the shade Natural to kind of overdraw my lips, not really. And then for a deeper shade to kind of like contour my lips, I'm gonna go in with the e.l.f. cream lip liner in the shade Dark Cocoa. I think I actually wanted another color. I wanted that like medium beige shade, but they didn't have any more at the store. So this is obviously gonna be too dark. Oh my God. So I've kind of blended that out with my fingers instead of using a cotton swab. And then she adds a pinky nude shade to the center. So I'm gonna go in with the e.l.f. lip liner in the shade Pinky something. Since her lips are so glossy and I want some gloss back to my lips, I'm gonna go in with the Fenty Beauty lip gloss in the shade Fussy. I think it's a very pretty color still though. So we're almost done. She goes in with a highlighter. So I'm gonna go in with the Anastasia Beverly Hills So Hollywood, and just a little bit right here. She puts a little on the inner corner. I know this brush is like ginormous for my inner corners, but it's okay. Very subtle, very subtle. And then she goes in with a blush. So I'm gonna go in with the Essence Pure Nude, and she goes back into under her eyes, and I'm not gonna bring it up too high. I just don't like that look for me. So I'm actually gonna bring it out a little lower and a little further out right here. I think it just is better suited for my face shape. But again, just very light and very light pressure, which I usually use way more pressure for some reason. I think watching these like Eastern techniques have definitely taught me to be a lot more gentle with my face and use a lot lighter hand and gently build up, which is what you should be doing anyway. And if you have like not as defined cheekbones like me and a little bit of a rounder face, I find that when you drag it out down here, like lower than your temple, when you're dragging it out, it looks a lot more natural and it gives you a lot fuller of a cheekbone look. And then she doesn't set her under eyes, but I am going to set my under eyes. And I'm going in with the Well People setting powder. I don't know how much I like it yet, but I don't mind it, I don't think. And I am just setting more than usual because I'm going to be filming for my other channel and I don't like looking too shiny when I'm over there. And I'm just gonna set my face in place. And I saw that Sophie kind of like uses her hand as a shield as she sprays the setting spray. I don't think I did it correctly, but I think it's so that your face doesn't absorb like a majority of the spray and kind of like break apart the makeup if it's too wet. So it makes sense, but I don't think I did it right. Anyway, I think that is it. I definitely took just so much longer than I probably needed to because I thought this was just so much fun and I enjoyed literally every single step of this makeup process. I feel like my makeup has never suited my features this well before while doing it myself. And I learned so much. I just learned so much watching this video and doing it on myself as well. So if you have the time to play around with different makeup techniques and want to give some of these techniques a try, I highly, highly recommend that because I just feel like I learned so much and I just love the way this looks. I love the way it turned out. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and I will see you next time. Bye.